a pretty significant development, a formal briefing now by the U.S. intelligence community to Senator Sanders that the Russians are trying to help him.
That's right, Wolf. It's happening again, and this is exactly what certainly the intelligence community has been looking for. They were waiting for sometime this year in the election season to brief the campaigns about what exactly they're seeing. And it appears, according to the Washington Post, that they've now approached the Bernie Sanders campaign to let him know that the Russian government is behind some efforts to try to assist his campaign. Now, we don't know exactly what those efforts entail, but we certainly saw this in 2016. There was some efforts by the Russian online trolls to not only help Donald Trump, but to help Bernie Sanders' campaign to try to hurt Hillary Clinton's campaign. Again, this is something we saw in the 2016 campaign. But here's a statement from Bernie Sanders' campaign today reacting to this news. They say, quote, "Unlike Donald Trump, I do not consider Vladimir Putin a good friend. He is an autocratic thug who is attempting to destroy democracy and crush dissent in Russia. I don't care, frankly, who Putin wants to be president. My message to Putin is clear. Stay out of American elections, and as president, I will make sure that you do." Wolf, again, this is the same playbook that the Russians used in 2016. If you remember, in the Mueller report, there is some discussion of this, including the efforts to try to go and hurt other campaigns, Marco Rubio's campaign, Ted Cruz's campaign, to try to help Donald Trump's campaign in the Republican side of the field. On the Democratic side, they were trying to cause some issues for Hillary Clinton by trying to propel Bernie Sanders. So this is not something that the intelligence community is not used to seeing, and it tells you a lot that the intelligence community is now going to the campaign at this point, months before the election, to try to discuss some of this so everybody's aware.
Stand by for a moment. Shane Harris, the reporter from the Washington Post who broke this story, is joining us on the phone right now. So tell us more, Shane. Tell us about this formal briefing that Senator Bernie Sanders received from U.S. intelligence officials that the Russians were trying to help promote his presidential campaign.
Well, Wolf, what we know right now is that the senator was informed about that officials had developed intelligence that indicated to them that Russia was trying to lend support to the campaign. Now, importantly, we don't know precisely the content of that briefing. I thought it was telling, though, in Senator Sanders' statement that he gave to us, that he noted that it was possible that there may be some of his supporters online who are not genuine. I don't think that's a confirmation that that is what the briefing was about, but I thought that was notable, and he's actually spoken about that this week, and even in a debate on Wednesday, kind of pointed to Russia as a possible source of people posing as his supporters online. But this is really notable. I mean, campaigns are used to getting briefings from the FBI on general security precautions they should be taking and how they might be targets. But this is the first we've heard of U.S. officials actually going to one of the campaigns and saying, look, we are seeing the kind of tradecraft from 2016 and assistance that was lent to the Trump campaign, and we're seeing that here with your campaign now.
It's interesting that you mentioned, Shane, 2016, because if you go to that indictment that Robert Mueller, the then special counsel, filed against these Russian trolls, the Internet Research Agency, among others, a very lengthy indictment. Among other things, one element says this: specialists were instructed, these are Russian specialists, to post content that focused on politics in the USA and to use any opportunity to criticize Hillary and the rest, except Sanders and Trump. We support them. I'm sure you've seen that reference to the allegation that the Russians were not only trying to help Donald Trump in 2016, they were also trying to help Senator Sanders in his battle against Hillary Clinton.
Yes, that's right. And of course, WikiLeaks posted the stolen DNC emails right before the Democratic Convention in 2016, which had a real effect of, aggravating and really, I think, dispiriting a lot of Sanders supporters as well. So in some ways, we have seen this play before with respect to Senator Sanders. But what we didn't have in 2016, of course, was the intelligence community or the FBI going to a campaign and identifying this. You'll remember back then, the fact that Russia was even interfering in the election was a very closely held secret and not something that the U.S. acknowledged until very late in the campaign. So what I think this tells us now is that you're going to see a different posture from the intelligence community of being much more proactive and going out and telling campaigns when they think they've developed information that campaign needs to know. And it will be interesting to see as well, I think, from the Sanders campaign, did they ever consider making this information public? And if not, why not?
Yeah, well, that's very significant. They should inform these campaigns if the Russians are directly interfering one way or another. Shane, the online harassment that we've seen from some individuals claiming to be Sanders supporters, do we know right now, does the U.S. intelligence community know, the FBI know, if in fact Russia has been behind at least some of them?
I don't know if we don't know that right now in our reporting. I did think it was notable that Senator Sanders made a reference to that in the statement that he gave us when we published the story about the briefing, and they did not comment about the briefing particularly. But that is something that we're going to try and look at as well. And again, I mean, Senator Sanders.
Shane, hold on one moment. Senator Sanders is speaking in Bakersfield, California, right now. I want to listen in.
Or acknowledges it or not, they did interfere in 2016. The intelligence community is telling us they are interfering in this campaign right now in 2020. And what I say to Mr. Putin, if elected president, trust me, you are not going to be interfering in American elections.
Senator, when were you briefed on this?
I'm guessing about a month ago.
And what are you going to do now that you know this?
Well, it was not clear what role they're going to play. We were told that Russia, maybe other countries, are going to get involved in this campaign. And look, here is the message to Russia. Stay out of American elections. And what they are doing, by the way, the ugly thing that they are doing, and I've seen some of their tweets and stuff, is they try to divide us up. That's what they did in 2016. And that is the ugliest thing they're doing, is they are trying to cause chaos. They're trying to cause hatred in America. It's an ugly business, and all of us have got to say, sorry, you're not going to do this in this election. And again, as President of the United States, Mr. Putin, you will not interfere in our elections.